He then fought in 1938, 1939, 1940. The state had him for virtually his entire developmental life. They brainwashed the child, first in the Hitler Youth, then in another program for the teenagers, then finally into the military itself. When I heard that Obama wanted to create a military unit or a special unit of children, a national service children, that will answer only to the White House, every nerve in my body went into overdrive. Do you remember that statement? Listen to it now if you don't. This was during the campaign. Guys, see if you can find that. It's very important for you to hear this. Just say when you have it, whatever. I know I picked it out of the air. I don't expect you to have him. Listen to this, because this could be coming to a neighborhood near you. If you don't have it, you don't have it. But say you have it or don't. You're leaving me in a lurch here. Another 50 minutes. All right. Figure out 9 o'clock tonight I'll have it when I need it, when I'm passed out from exhaustion. Anyway, during the campaign, Obama gave himself away in many different ways. Reverend Wright was perhaps the most telling giveaway of who Obama is inside the head, between the ears, where it counts. You say it doesn't matter that a man sat in a church for 20 years and listened to vile anti-Americanism with a special twist of anti-whiteism. You say it doesn't matter. I say it does matter. I say he could have left at any time, and he didn't. And I warned you what was coming. And he also gave this speech. I want you to hear it again. Go ahead.
We cannot continue to rely only on our military in order to achieve the national security objectives that we've set. We've got to have a civilian national security force that's just as powerful, just as strong, just as well-funded.
A civilian national security force that's just as strong, just as well-funded as the U.S. military. That sounds like a little gentleman from Austria who wanted his own civilian security force, and he created it. It was called the Brown Shirts. And he funded it. And they fought for him, and they protected him. And they protected him not only from the political opponents, but from the military itself. And so, ladies and gentlemen, as I say, since this is the new way, since this is the New World Order, since there's no stopping the tidal wave of lies, deceit, arrogance, and absolute un-Americanism emanating from the highest office, I think that it's time to get along and go along. And that's why I say today we're rechanging the... Because the last thing we would want is to see me on a watch list of the Homeland Security or the FBI or the CIA. I want them to understand that I'm a team player, that I'm not a loose cannon, that I'll get along and I'll go along. And so, as I say, whatever the government wants of me, I'm willing to do. And I'm even willing to go so far as to myself offer several initiatives. And one of them would be this. Although over the years I've called for stronger borders and the deportation of illegal aliens, I think today I'm going to call for the relocation of all white people who have lived here for more than 50 years in order to give the newcomers from the South a chance. Just for the sake of fairness and balance, we should force all whites over the age of 50 to leave the country, perhaps with their possessions, perhaps not, in order to give all of these newcomers from the South a chance. The newcomers who have put all the Democrats in power and have kept them there for these last 20 years. You see what I mean? It's time for them to appreciate the beauties of America, and it's time for those who've enjoyed this fair nation to move on. Time to pack up your kit bag and move along. Now it's time for the callers on the Savage Nation. 1-800-449-8255. Michael's linked up from the failing San Francisco Chronicle, a newspaper that's losing $1.5 million a week. $1 million a week. It's not their money. They certainly won't change their policies. They'd rather be out of business collecting crazy checks in the cafes of San Francisco than ever recognize the fact that they drove their newspaper to bankruptcy. So there's an article about bed bugs in San Francisco. Apparently there's a bed bug epidemic in the city, and it's not just limited to single-room occupancy hotels anymore. Oh, no, it's in various neighborhoods now. It's way out of the cheap, poor neighborhoods. The bed bugs have proliferated throughout San Francisco, but there's no mention of where they came from. It's as though the bed bugs were created by spontaneous creation. You've heard of spontaneous emission, and, of course, you've heard of spontaneous combustion, but you've not heard of spontaneous creation yet. But according to the liberal, bed bugs may have been created by spontaneous creation, created simply out of the air in order to make immigrants look bad. I'll be right back.
On the air, online, and on the go. This is Talk 910 KNEW.
Sacramento, Fred, welcome to the Savage Nation.
Mr. Savage, it is a privilege to talk to you.
Can I say something? I don't want to be a wise guy. It's not a privilege. I do it for a living. Without you, I'd have no show. Guys like Wallbanger need to hear that because they're insecure and have nothing else other than the radio. But go ahead, please.
Exactly. I know what people say, and it's just not.
You're a great American. You're a real great one. You're a great American. Okay, go on, please.
Yeah, we won't mention his name. But I understand. Always prepare to be disappointed. If you go out and have a meal, if you go here, go there, see people, always expect to be disappointed and hope for the best. But be prepared.
Oh, in other words, don't expect it to have a good time and a good meal.
Exactly. And
actually, it's a philosophically correct way to approach restaurants. And now that you mention it, expect to have bad food and a bad time.
Exactly. And then
well, here's how I drive around on the road now. If I get in my car, I have to go down a certain 2-lane road to get to another location, right? Yeah. Inevitably, there are bicyclists with jester costumes on who like to ride in the middle of the road and block you even though you can't go around them. Or they'll come speeding on the other lane. And if anyone gets behind them and swerves, they can cause a head-on collision. Normally, I honk my horn just to ruin their day because I hate them. Okay, I hate them because they're going to cause an accident. They're going to kill somebody. Mrs. S tells me not to honk the horn. She's don't bother. And I try not to when anyone's in the car. Even the dog doesn't like it. But I hate rude bicyclists because I bicycle and I keep all the way to the right because I don't want to get run over. I don't want to cause an accident. These people are the most snotty AHs you've ever seen. They're all from San Francisco. They all truck their bicycles out to Marin County, and then they ride like they own the road, and the cops do nothing. The CHP ought to do something about them, like take their tricycles away from them and put them in jail. Okay, but the fact of the matter is, what I do now is when I get on this road, I count to 10. I say to myself, you are going to have 10 incidents between point A and point B of rude bicyclists that are going to try and destroy your day. And you know what I do? I count now. I usually get to 2 before I start screaming and honking the horn.
Savage.
I never get past 2. By the second one, the fuse is gone. The fuse blew out. I say give it to 10, but usually by 2 or 3, it's over. I can't take it. I don't know what they're doing on the road, those bums. They all drive cars to bring the bicycle to the country road. Who are they fooling?
Exactly. You got to put that out of your mind because why should that matter to you? But the thing is, me and you, we can't put that out of our minds because
I can't put it out of my mind because it's a matter of social disorder. What it is there's a social contract. If I pay taxes and I drive a car, my road should be clear. I'm paying taxes for the highway patrol to make sure these AHs do not block the lane. That if they do, they pick them up, take their tricycles, and throw them in the bay and arrest them. But the CHP doesn't do this for me. You understand? I pay grotesque taxes. Why do they not patrol the road, I ask myself, right?
I'm not brainwashed. I look at life the right way. I see things under the skin. I'm not all, it's all good. Oh, look at the beautiful day today. Well, it's a beautiful day today, but there's a lot of stuff.
What do you do if you go to a restaurant and next to you is a loud liberal who starts giving a lecture, a political lecture? How do you handle that? An Obama lover. See, I don't do politics in a restaurant. I'm very conservative, but when I go out to dinner, I never do politics. I don't talk at a table about politics because I would find it offensive if someone did it around me. Why is it that liberals usually shoot their mouths off about what Obama said or what the local liberal newspaper wrote? Why do they think I want to listen to that when they don't even know who I am? Why do they inflict themselves on everybody around them?
They want to look better.
Answer, because they can, because they know that you won't do anything about it. The fact is that I have a radio show. I am outspoken. Some would call me a loudmouth. But you have an option. You could turn the station off. You could turn on any other station right now, and you can get nothing but liberal pap for the rest of the day. When you go to a restaurant, you're a captive audience. And so, therefore, if someone does that, they are doing it strictly to be aggressive and rude and hostile. How do you deal with it? I'll give you an example. I knew a guy who went to a restaurant, and next to him was a couple with an infant. Usually the guy is over 50, balding, ponytail, with a somewhat, let us say, not whatever, a 35-year-old wife with an infant. Already she's the mother that she always wanted to be. She left the pointy shoes behind, and suddenly she discovered motherhood. And the baby is crying, and they do nothing about it, ruining everyone's meal in the restaurant. So this caller said to me, he got up, he told the owner, charge me, I'm leaving, and he put $10 down on the guy's table right to his face. He got in his face, and he said, here, next time you go out, you can afford a babysitter, and he left. That's a classy thing, right? Do you think I complain too much? I got to ask you something. I'm thinking about it. I'm doing like a lot of soul searching.